What's up, everyone? Dem Boys back at it in a big way. As far as I can see, this is going to close down our 3-4 scheme. So after you've watched this, you will know everything you need to know to run this. Like anything, if anything else comes up, I'll always update and add if applicable. So first thing I want to talk about is we're going to talk about sending extra heat, how to do that. Then we're going to cover pressing your safety manually. We're going to cover a few different new zone setups. We're going to talk a little bit about gap effects as far as how standing in different gaps with your player may affect this heat. And then, shout out say it ain't Miggy. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about some Wildcat D. We just played a really good game. This was a dude who knew how to run the Wildcat. It was nuanced. It had motions. He had cooks with human joystick. So he knew how to implement the scheme at a high level. And as such, I was able to confirm something that I had kind of thought, touched on an earlier question about Wildcat defense and how we can shut that down. So let's get into personnel a little bit. I have changed things up a little, as you can see. I had Minka up here and Rod down here. Rod can be chemmed up to any safety spot, super versatile. As you can see, he's not losing like sprinter, run stuff, all that's still there, right? I replaced him with Crow Marty. I know a little bit lower overall, but my goodness. There's been one pass completed against him in 5 days, and it was a glitch. The game glitched out after there was no animation. Both players just stood there next to each other. It was weird, right? But other than that, dude, is not a lot of good. People have tried, all right? So I've talked to you guys about the traits that you want in your corner. There is one other trait that I have now finally, the light bulb went off. So jump ball, right? When you are playing zones, that jump ball stat really didn't matter. You were likely to click on as people ran through zones anyways. It didn't really apply, right? And I always kind of wondered about that. Well, I can tell you 100% fact, that is a stat meant to impact man coverage. Alright, when that ball goes up, Cromartie is going to go make a play on that thing. Alright, that's just what he does. So add that to the other traits is good jump ball characteristics. Just crazy, man. You can't even throw the ball at the guy. So note that. Let's get into sending extra heat, and I'll show you some in-game footage while we talk about that a bit. Alright guys, so this first one is just going to be a good example of me knowing that he was only going to send 2 out. Now you could blitz one safety and user, I could have just usered that safety there and not blitzed him, but I decided to blitz him and user the corner. So those would be the kind of the levels you could do of that. Obviously, that was one too many for him. But note the positions of the safeties. That's where I like to blitz from if I'm going to send extra people. So this is going to be an example of me essentially just understanding that he's going to max protect. The wheel route will get open, so as opposed to me rovering around or going and doubling the wheel route, it's more effective to send an extra guy and just go cover the wheel route, right? Let everyone else do their job. You take care of the one thing that they can't. Here is another way of doing it where I just send a spy. So this would be the example of one extra safety coming when I'm pretty sure that he's in a max, only sending out 2. And then in this case, I just sent the spy right away. But maybe if someone's got a mobile quarterback, the second they start to run, you click down. Those would just be different ways to send that extra pressure. A few, mainly the wheel route being an important way that I wanted to show you that. So guys, let's move on to the next thing, which is going to be talking about pressing our safety. Alright, so on this one, we're going to focus on manually pressing your safety. So you'll note here, we're going to just watch Tyreek Hill and Rod Woodson. I do not move anyone down, so the safety is not pressed. And I just want you to see how quickly Hill gets out into his route, and how even with this much heat, that could have become a problem had he not had to roll the opposite way. So you just see, that was quick access to that flag route, which we do not want at all in man coverage. So now note this time, you see I bring him down. Now obviously a little difficult to press when they're that jammed up, But even in this type of a formation, just bringing him down a bit, you're going to note he's going to get his hands on Hill coming up the seam, which is just going to slow down the timing, and when you're sending heat like this, that's what we're hoping for. So that's going to be why we press the safety. Now, you can be vulnerable if they then motion the receiver that you've pressed after you've done that. There is no way other than manually hopping on him and running him across the field to get him to chase that receiver. So do note that that is a potential counter for that. You do not need to do this to run this defense, so don't think that if somebody's giving you that motion on the pressed receiver that now you have to come off of it. It's just going to make it a little bit more effective if someone's going to allow you to do that. Okay, so against Gun Bunch, honestly, I'm most likely to come out in a cover 4. You know, if I think Verts is coming, we might do something like take Y, put him on an inside third. Which this is just a setup that I use frequently, just in general, guys. So just as a general setup, no matter what formation they're in, if you just want to go into kind of a general safe zone setup and figure things out from there, this is a real good base defense to just kind of start out in if you don't feel as comfortable starting out in the man, or if you're just not running the manned up portion of this scheme, right? I realize not every game mode has that ability. Not everyone may want to put their stuff there, so this is a great way to just kind of come out and just kind of feel out what's happening, all right? And we can kind of see why, so I'll go ahead and max pro. You know, fairly tough to make any kind of reads. Most things that you're going to see out a bunch, the cover 4 is going to be pretty good against. Now, that having been said, let's say I do want to come out in man. So, we all know Wheels are man beaters. Even if you have manned up, there's a decent enough chance he's going to get beat. So, you have a few options depending on where you are in the field, how quick you think your heat's going to get there. If they're not max protecting and it's just someone who just doesn't get it, you know, or maybe you haven't been blitzing them like this all the time, so they're not expecting it, I'll take B and I'll squat it. Now, you're going to see Y right here. So it covers it really well right up until the end there, but quarterback's getting hit, right? So if you want to roll the dice that you're heating them up like that, or, oops, sorry guys, you are, you know, obviously going to do something like that, right? Like what I had showed you before. And we're going to go ahead and, boop, and wrap that up. So, a few different things you can do there, depending. Now, if I think they're max pro and I'm worried about them getting over the top, and that's my main goal, is maybe I need to be somewhere else for whatever reason. I'm going to put him on a third. And you'll see why here. You're not going to get over the top of that. Now, could you throw that right there? Yep, you can. Now, that's close, right? If you have good click on, is it possible you could get back to that and shut that down? Oh, yeah, absolutely, right? Absolutely. So those are just a few different kind of options versus things that are very important to note out of bunch. I'm going to show you guys 2 other formations that I just think you see a lot of in general. So tight slots, right? Any kind of doubles, compressed doubles, anything like that. Then I'm typically going to come out in cover 1 because there are a lot of different zone beaters. Cover 2, cover 4. You can, you know, chop up a zone if you can make the time for yourself, of course. So I feel like it's a little safer to run the manned up scheme against any kind of a formation like this, whether that tight end is in line or not. Alright, so if we come down with our setup, you know, the first thing I might do is go ahead and do something like this. Now I've manned up that tight end. I am going to note in my scheme, right, that this guy's going to be the only one who doesn't have manned up, so I'm going to be aware of that, and my first responsibility from a double team standpoint is I'm going to be looking at that tight end, right? Or I'll just go ahead and blitz him, and I will user the tight end, because this is the one guy without manned up. He's the one guy who's vulnerable. I'll go ahead and user him, keep that heat coming. Now, even if they block the running back, it's a numbers game, and they just don't have him. Instant heat, right? So those are things to consider playing doubles. I don't think there's much else I'd cover there. If the tight end was inline blocking, I would even consider sending this safety and just manning up like the backside guy who's over here kind of by himself. Just in case they send the running back out, that way I can peel off him and go down on the running back. You know, so I guess to whatever side you have the people who might be running a route on you. The tight end might come out, the running back might come out, but I need to cover B. So you know you need to cover B and also kind of be watching A and RB, and they're going to be forced into a really quick read, right? So even if, let's say, the running back's blocking, the tight end isn't, again, inline not, doesn't matter. He's not blocking for this example. You see, I got to cover both of those guys, but only for a second. So, things you might want to be aware of there for doubles, simple enough. Otherwise, you know what, actually, otherwise, if I'm in a cover 4, I might base align it, potentially even do something like that. Sit down in here. Something like that, just because I'm sure y'all have seen they might try to burn you up top over here. And even then they might, you know, get past you. It's tough. Like, it's, you know, that can be a tough one to cover. So that would be another setup that I might consider using. Lastly, otherwise we're going to be here all day. If y'all have any other specific questions that I don't cover, y'all already know, man. Just go ahead and drop something in the comments. But any kind of a trips set, if I'm in a cover 4, because I'm not using manned up, I will go ahead baseline, bring it all down. Now, few options. Alright, if the tight end's out and I know that the numbers game is there for me, I'll probably take Woods, put him on a hook curl, take A, put him on an inside third, and then I'm going to rover with this guy. That would be a pretty common setup. If I decide to keep him on a quarter, so I've got these guys on quarters, what I would probably do is either bring him in and put him on a cloud. Now you might get beat deep by that tight end, because then I'm just going to try to compress the field here. You know, and say, all right, the tight end and the running back, we got the cloud for that. I'm going to try to undercut anything, and we're just going to kind of really turn this into a small window and a quick decision. Otherwise, you could go ahead and man up the tight end, right? Especially if you have manned up on him. And then again, you're just compressing. Now you may need to watch, keep an eye on that running back. If the running back starts to leak out, you may have to go get that quick. But fine, you collapse on it, no gain, loss of yards potentially, whatever. Otherwise, you're coming under here, you're looking for any kind of quick little ins, drags, slants, anything that could get underneath this quarter, because we've taken that off of a yellow. Right. Sometimes I'll even go ahead and set up like that, and I will man over here, right? Especially if the tight end is inline, because now it's real likely that we've got us a max pro, right? So it's real likely that this is what we're dealing with. So at that point, now you talk about compressing the field in. I can come in, compress the field. If he breaks contain or something, then I may have to come back and have some responsibility back here, right? But now you can really compress your coverage, and all of a sudden you've got a ton of heat, but you've got a ton of coverage out there as well, right? So those would be my most likely ways that I would deal with somebody coming out in trips. What's next, guys? Wildcat. Alright, everybody. Lastly, real quick, if I see Wildcat, I will come out in the Storm 1 Brave, and I will do our wide run defense setup. So again, we shift outside, we slant the pass rush inside. Spread linebackers, blitz all contain. I'll just get up in here and just use her with the safety. Pretty common, you won't even need to make a play. Usually the computer will handle it. But very good Wildcat D. So, just wanted to get that in there quick, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I always appreciate the support, guys. Damn boys. Peace.